Hello everybody, this is Curve and welcome to Yakuza 5, all bosses, no damage, on hard difficulty, because, yeah, this is one of the games where you can't restart on Legend, and I don't want to do that, especially for this fight, right here in the beginning, because, like, if you want to do this fight, you gotta go through, like, 15 to 20 minutes of, like, cutscenes and shit that are unskippable, so it's not fun, and I hope you can understand. These guys really aren't anything special, but they do have a Feel the Heat, so they technically count. This attempt isn't all that crazy either. I'm literally just gonna do that Dragon Spirit Heat action, and then Tiger Drop him, and yeah, we're at the Feel the Heat now. Yo, why'd I do in a Freddy Fazbear shirt? But yeah, so the gameplay mod that I'm going to be using this time around is the Fighter's Dream mod by Genadich 1, which adds multiple movesets to each character, juggling, and some extra dynamic intros and QTEs and stuff. You won't really get to see them in this fight because of how it's structured, but you will over the 3-hour runtime of this video. Yeah, Yakuza 5 is a big game. And it ended up even being longer than Yakuza 0 and No Damage, and that was mostly due to inflated health bars. This time it's just because there's so many boss fights. Yeah, this game is really big and has a lot of bosses, but one of the problems that I have with Yakuza 5 is that most of the bosses just don't have enough health. They die way too quickly, and it's kind of the same problem I had with Yakuza 0, but I will, because of that, be using the Boss Health Increase mod by Biggleskog for basically every boss in this video, unless I say otherwise. Like I said, I knew this caused issues when I did it back in Yakuza 0, but this time the inflated video length is due to the amount rather than the amount of time the bosses take. The boss health mod is kind of a pain in the ass for Morinaga and Aizawa here, because having to fight two bosses at once makes the increase way more impactful. I will be using the payback ring for this fight, and I'm trying to get rid of Morinaga as soon as possible because Aizawa is going to need some special attention. He's got knockdown immunity, so he's going to be a lot harder to deal with. So right here I'm going to do my climax heat action to get Morinaga down low enough to hit the Feel the Heat. And at that point it's just going to be Aizawa left over. I apologize if there's a lot of long pauses like that in this video. I have 3 hours of commentary to get through. I hope you understand. But, you know, now that I'm just dealing with Aizawa, it's time to talk about Yakuza 5's advanced combos, or lack thereof. You're not going to be able to see it much in this fight, but a recent development in Yakuza 5 is the discovery of wall stick combos, which are far and away my least favorite advanced combo type in the whole series. Yes, even the restrictive 6-second juggles in Gaiden are a lot more fun to do. Yakuza 5's wall sticks are just like ultra specific to setup. Like that's like the most consistent setup, where you just like bounding throw, kick him into the wall, and just quick step attack. Because they're even more restrictive than Gaiden's juggles, so you know that's a problem. And the way that you do them is different for each character, so I'm gonna like get into specifics later. I just don't think that they're fun. Okay, to continue on that train of thought, the bad part is that Yakuza 5 just doesn't have, like, anything else. Like, this game was just tailor-made to have no sauce whatsoever. So, I kind of just had to rely on wall sticks to do somewhat cool stuff. So, I hope you understand when I say that this is probably my least favorite no damage to do so far. So for this fight, I will be using the Okinawa Kiryu skin by Fast, link in the description as it is with all the mods that I use. And you will see me use the extra movesets a little bit in this fight. Kiryu, I believe, has Sugiyuchi, like a mix of Iwami and Katsuya, and then over Dragon Spirit he has his Extreme Heat moveset, or like his Dragon Engine moveset. The amount that I use the modded movesets varies between characters. Like, I use them a little bit for Kido. For Saejima, I use them, like, a lot because they're really broken. But I don't think I use them for Shinada at all. I tend to focus on the base movesets anyway because the modded ones can be a little weird to use. Just not the greatest, a little unwieldy. But yeah, this fight is basically the same in strategy as the vanilla attempt. I'm trying to get rid of Morinaga as quickly as possible before dealing with Aizawa, like it last time. No, I do not know why, but this mod does introduce a couple moveset swaps for bosses, and that is true for this fight, where Morinaga's moveset is replaced with Seta's from Yakuza 0, and Aizawa's is Shishido from Gaiden. One small change that this mod makes that I actually do like is that it changes some of the boss's grabs. Some grabs like Aizawa's deal damage to you in vanilla like grabs in Yakuza 6 do, which is really stupid, and it locks you out of any grab reversal heat actions for no damaging. It also allows for some grabs to be countered by pressing circle, like Ogita's infamous command grab later in the game, so that actually makes that fight a whole lot better. Now, one thing you might notice about the juggling in this mod is that it does not care about finishers at all. Finishers just completely break the juggling state, and it's a lot worse for enemies with knockdown immunity like Aizawa here, because you just can't use finishers at all or he'll just stand up. Thog will not care. As the video goes on, I do learn some better ways to deal with enemies with knockdown immunity, but for right now, the rest of this attempt isn't all that pretty. I don't really have much else to say for it, though, so see you in the next fight. So here's Yahata, who is Kiryu's only real 1v1 boss outside of the finale chapters. This does give me the option to go for some of the more advanced wall stick combos, though. The basic setup, like I said, is you want to do your square triangle bounding throw on the enemy's back, and then throw them into a wall. You want to do it at like a slight angle, so you can hit your quick step attack. But yeah, after you do that, just kick them and then quick step attack. There are some variations to this, and there are a lot more like different ones that I learned about after making this. So I kind of just don't use like the alternate setups, unfortunately. But give me a break. It's Yakuza 5. I don't really want to learn Yakuza 5's advanced tech, but I kind of had to, even if I didn't do it all the way. But yeah, getting your bounding throw to actually land on the enemy's back is surprisingly finicky. You have to basically be directly behind them for it to work. Like, sometimes you'll hit their back at like an angle, and it'll just like teleport them 180 degrees to where you're now grabbing them from the front, and it's weird. You technically can do a wall stick with your 4-square finisher, but that one is somehow even more finicky, and I'm not really able to do it in this video, even though you see me trying it there. Like, I get it there, but it's in the corner, so it doesn't actually stick them to the wall. Now, even after you get a wall stick, your options for how to combo off of it are pretty limited. You can either go for another bounding throw, which you've probably seen me do a couple times. You can do a reverse light attack, which are always fun, even though the reversal tech from Yakuza 3 and 4 is absent in this game. Or you can just do a heat action. Or you can just, like, hit them once and then reset them onto the wall. So, yeah, you don't really have that many options, unfortunately. Yakuza 5 in general is a very heat action heavy game because of your limited combo ability. Especially since I have, you know, boosted health here. I haven't done many in this particular fight, but as the video goes on, you will see me do a whole lot more, and I will have more bosses with strategies, like, made around doing heat actions. I also hope you're ready to hear the basic boss theme, Extermination, a lot, because it plays on, like, 15 different bosses. I'm really sorry. But that's why you're watching the commentary version, so you don't have to hear it as much. Like, as far as basic boss themes go, it's honestly one of the better ones when it comes to this series. I think it's pretty good, but by the end of me editing this video, I got sick of it. So the Fighter's Dream mod also adds in the ability for a lot of your bounding throws to, well, bound enemies off of walls, and I will be making very heavy use of that here. So, you may or may not have noticed during the pauses that I've had for, like, the intros and stuff, but I'm finally deciding to use some of the MGR songs that I haven't used. Considering that MGR was, like, my thing for a while, and that an MGR video is my most popular video by a fucking nautical mile, it's a little crazy that I really haven't used all that much MGR music for these no damages. Like, you would assume that I would, but I just haven't. I think I used Red Sun way back in Kiwami 2. I used the beta version of Stains of Time on Koshimizu in 6. And I used A Stranger I Remain and A Soul Can't Be Cut in Gaiden. But I think that's it. But yeah, I used I'm My Own Master now on the Morinaga Naizawa fight. And Dark Skies here on Yahata. But that still leaves a lot of MBR music that I somehow haven't used yet. But I think I have an idea for one that I want to use in a later no damage. I also have decided that for this no damage, I will refrain from attempting to speak unless I have anything interesting to say, because I really don't have that much interest in this game. I'm really sorry, Yakuza 5 fans. I like this game too, but it's just not fun to no damage. I gotta do this for 3 hours. Like, I'm sorry. I'll see you later. Yeah, so I guess this technically counts as a boss fight. There's never been anything else like it in the series before or since, so I kind of wanted to include it. Even though this is literally just a QTE segment, and most of it is copied from Tomoshiro and Yakuza 3. This is basically just the exact same thing again, but shorter. So, yeah, I'm gonna see you in the next fight. I think this version is... it's over, like, right now. Oh my fucking god, this no damage made me want to delete this game off my hard drive forever. I don't know if this is just a remastered issue or what, but the enemies are stupidly aggressive. You can barely throw out an attack without getting trampled by a stampede of enemies. It's nearly impossible to no damage this fight without Dragon Spirit. Now, I'm going to be using the generally recommended strategy of spamming light attacks until you're almost out of heat, and then using a throw to clear out as many enemies as possible. And basically what I'm going to do for the rest of the fight is that gun guy right there, I'm going to kill him, steal his gun, and use it to build up heat to get me back into Dragon Spirit as soon as possible. I want to minimize the amount of time that I am not in Dragon Spirit, and thus not invincible. Now, it is technically possible to beat this fight without Dragon Spirit. I think I remember seeing something one time that's like, the enemies in the PC version of Yakuza 5 Remastered are way more aggressive. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, it makes this fight a hell of a lot harder. But still technically possible to do this without Dragon Spirit. It has been done before, but there's no way that I'm gonna be the one to do it again. As you can probably tell, I'm also using the Payback Ring in order to maximize my Dragon Spirit efficiency. Now, you probably saw that cool mid-fight sequence there. You do have to be really careful about those, because they will knock you out of Dragon Spirit. And the enemies are not going to give you any time to reactivate it, especially if you don't have any more heat. So, as you can see, I'm basically just running to a spot where it's safe to pull out the gun, and then use it to get some heat and go back into Dragon Spirit. And I'm gonna hard focus these mini boss dudes right now. I'm not 100% sure if they're a prerequisite to get into the next phase, but I think that they are, so I take care of them ASAP by using that Dragon Spirit heat action, which I'm pretty sure it got copied over into a lot of future games, but it's best version in this game because it hits a lot more enemies. So now that the boss is coming in, I'm just going to repeat the strat from the last phase, where I pull out the gun, and then go into Dragon Spirit, and then take care of him. And then after he's done, it's just going to be a couple more enemies, and the fight is going to be over.
よくこんだけ集め正気
So the normal theme for this fight sounds like an anime opening, so I wanted to capitalize on that with the classic Get Out Aggressive Gaming Phonk remix by a returning composer from the Gaiden video, GavinZBeats. Now speaking of the Gaiden video, just like the treachery fight in that one, I'm also using God mode because I don't want to do this no damage shit twice. As a result, this attempt is a lot faster, but I will also have a lot less to say about it. So since I have some time, I will use it to do some updates on this no damage series moving forward. After this video, my Lost Judgment training arc will be in full swing. So the next no damage will be Judgment, and after that one I'm going to be doing Kaito Files. And after that, hopefully I'll be warmed up to Dragon Engine combat enough to the point where I can get used to Lost Judgment's crazy tech and shit. As for after Lost Judgment, I was thinking about going back and revisiting some of the fights in these games to do some better no damages, so there might be a couple videos on that, and I also want to do the Amons at some point as well. I might redo Kiwami 2 completely because that one's doo-doo, and I also have a couple special secret ones that I want to do, so stay tuned for that. So here's Saejima, who I actually think is pretty fun to play as in this game. He also has the ability to do wall stick combos, but it's done a bit differently to Kiryu. The main way is to grab and throw the enemy into a wall before kicking them. You can also grab them from behind and use your uncharged triangle attack, or you can even do your running attack, grab away from a wall, although I don't use that one until later. Probably the best part about Saejima in this game is that they actually gave him a counter in the form of Tiger Dragon Drop. Not drag and drop, that's Dragon Drop. Not only that, but it's also just a really good counter in general since it stuns and does a crap ton of damage. It is kinda hard to use on Kugihara because he loves to spam his running attack, which has a kind of ambiguous animation, so it can be a little difficult to time properly. Though if he does his standard combo, it's pretty easy. Now, unfortunately, Yakuza 5 does not have the Yakuza 4 mechanic of, for some reason, if you land a knockback, you're basically guaranteed a throw. Which would be really nice considering, you know, throws start combos in this game. But, oh well. Basically what you're going to be doing is routing the boss fight to where you can make the most out of your throws to get, like, good wall sticks. So this is the first copyrighted song of the video, which unfortunately means that I have to continuously talk. This is the Jellyfish Jam AA Run HD remix. He makes a lot of video game music remixes, which are all really cool, and I even have one in a later fight. Now, this video has a record for this series when it comes to copyrighted songs that claimed my no commentary version. The previous record was 6, I believe, in the Gaiden video. This one has 11. Although, I think some of them are duplicates for whatever reason. But it still has 11. So, yeah. Luckily for me, though, this fight isn't all that long because I'm going to cheese the fuck out of Kugihara. I don't know why, but the Fighter's Dream mod completely breaks him, and only him. If you accidentally hit him the wrong way, he will suddenly He will suddenly gain complete super armor for the rest of the fight, which makes him incredibly unfun to no damage, and I just don't want to deal with that. Now, thankfully, Ditch decided to give Saejima Mine's moveset, which includes an infinite combo baked into it, so you can guess exactly what I'm gonna do here. It does require you to be in heat mode though, but if you do any of your first finishers and then mash square, you can kick over and over again. Or alternatively, you can just lock on and mash triangle, but I didn't figure that one out until later. And now, I think that the super armor glitch has something to do with hitting Kugihara's block, but I'm not positive on that. I also have no idea why it would exclusively affect him, of all people. I also have to warn you that Kugihara 2 is the next fight, and the modded attempt is going to be exactly like this one, because he still has the super armor glitch. I also ended up picking another copyrighted song for that one too, so I gotta yap a lot for that one as well. Now, the rest of this fight is going to be me barely not killing him with that heat action, and then scrambling to get a half-decent finisher. Now, for some reason, Fighter's Dream just gives you a free heat action for hitting a combo like Tanimura and Yakuza 4, so I will be making use of those.
Saejima! なかなか頑張るじゃねえか。だがどんなに頑張ったって無駄だぜ。まだまだ新手がこっちに向かってんだからよ。ここを出たってあんたは逃げられねえんだよ。死ぬまで楽しもうぜ。Saejima!
So this is the first fight that I turned the boss health mod completely off for. This time around, Kugihara has a knockdown immunity, which makes him a huge pain in the ass, especially with his weird moveset. And I'm going to start out using this heat action to get rid of one of the guys, and after that, since you have Baba fighting with you in this fight, he tends to take care of the other one on his own, which is nice since it's really hard to deal with a goon and Kugihara at the same time. But even then, Kugihara doesn't really give me any combo opportunities. He acts really uncooperative during this attempt. Like, yeah, he gets kicked away, doesn't stick to the wall. But it's a really quick fight. It's over really fast, so who cares? And so as much as I would like to let this intro play, like I said in the last Kugihara fight, I have another copyrighted song here on this one. This being the Real Slim Freddy, a mashup of the Real Slim Shady and Stuck Inside, a Five Nights at Freddy's fan song. Cause they sound like really similar for some reason. It's really difficult to talk continuously for this whole fight because it's 2 minutes of nothing, but... yeah, this is a really good time to talk about Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, or as I like to call it, Majima One Piece. I am very excited for it. It brought back Minami, which automatically makes it Game of the Year. I won't be no-damaging it right away, as I will wait for tech to get discovered and for some cool mods to be developed, and I probably won't even be done with all the other ones by that point anyway. I mean, it's, the end of November as I'm recording this, and I probably won't be done recording until maybe December. This video is not going to be out till December, I promise, it's not, but, I mean, even then, I want to try and get one more video out, not Yakuza No Damage related, before the end of the year, just to have a good, cap off. If not, that might bleed into January. That's what happened last year. I had my Judgment Crimes Part 2 video that I wanted to have out before the end of the year. Ended up not happening. That came out in January. But, yeah, so... I probably won't even be close to done with all the other no damage videos by the time that drops in February. Also, Saejima is returning. And it looks like they're actually gonna do something with him for once, which is great because he hasn't had any relevance since Yakuza 4. Like, not even in Yakuza 5, which is a game where you play as him, does he do anything. He just kind of shows up so that he can fight Majima. That's it. That's the whole reason he's here. Because, like, yeah. Okay, so the bear fight is really funny, but it sucks that you can't really do cool stuff with it. So I'm just gonna exclusively use Tiger Dragon Drop for the whole fight, because why not? This is actually a little harder than you might expect it to be, because sometimes the iframes you get can be a little weird, but it still isn't all that difficult. You just gotta be a little wary about what attacks you're countering. I don't really have anything else to note other than that, so I will see you in the modded version. Oh my god, guys, he's hacking! I saw it, he's hacking, he cheated. I really hope you didn't expect me to find a different way to no damage the bear. I'm sorry. So here's a boss to actually get excited about. One thing that sucks is that Baba's Arena doesn't have any really good wall stick spots. The best one I found was on the wall next to the vending machine right here, but it's very inconsistent. But otherwise, this is a really good fight. I like it. I did get lucky enough for it to work on this combo in the beginning, but it was very inconsistent. Sometimes Baba would just bounce off the vending machine itself at a bad angle, or he just wouldn't splat onto the wall at all. I generally don't like to use weapons in my no damages because I simply like using the tools that I already have at my disposal, but I made some exceptions in this game because the health bars could get a bit lengthy, and they add some heat action variety. Or, you know, I can just pull out the danger, don't hit, and clear like a health bar and a half in one hit. But yeah, that's especially so for Shinada later, because he is the weapons guy, so I will be using a lot of weapons with him. So once Baba enters his heat mode, I'm not really able to do any more wall stick combos. He just doesn't feel like cooperating. He bounces the wrong way like 3 times, and it's really annoying. So most of my damage is going to come from countering his little double kick attack that he likes to do, which I think he's going to do in a second. Oh, that's his basic combo. Like 1, 2, okay, I don't counter that one, but that move. He's going to do that, and I'm going to counter that because it's his most consistent move to counter. I feel like when it comes to, like, bangers in the Yakuza series, I Believe in You gets overlooked a lot. It's honestly really good, and I love the energy that it has, but I don't see it talked about too much. I think it's really good. And, my Go I'm on the edge of my seat once had the legendary I Believe in You scream. He was like, I believe in you! Or something like that. I don't know. I'm not him. I will never be him. I'm just a poser. That's how I feel. I'm just a lame fraud. He's the man. He's that man, that guy, and I am not him. But I do like no damaging these games, so I will continue to do that. So this fight uses the Zombies on Your Lawn remix, once again by AA Run HD. It also uses the 1985 Saejima mod by Tenshin, which has technically been on this whole time, but it hasn't applied until this fight. Now, after uploading my no commentary version of this video to check what songs would claim my video, I found that, like I said earlier, there were a record 11 claims on this video. What really got to me, though, was that Zombies on Your Lawn apparently flagged this video, which I think is complete bullshit, because a while back when I released my best Yakuza combo video ever, I used Zombies on Your Lawn, the original version, and it has never been flagged. So I also will be using the payback ring just to make this one go a bit faster. Baba gets completely fucked by that modded climax heat action, which I think is from the Kiryu games? I think so. But it's just that and a couple more heat actions, and that's just gonna completely shred his health. I think this is a very solid attempt overall. But, you'll notice that I probably already used it a little bit, but yeah, apart from Mine's moveset, Saejima also has Brawler. I think it's a Bruiser, actually, because it has, like, the double finishers and whatnot from Kaito. So, technically, it's Bruiser. But He also has Kanai's moveset, but I never use it because I never found it that useful. But he technically does have Kanai's moveset, but it's just completely overshadowed by Bruiser and especially Mine's moveset. And plus he just has some cool bonuses to his standard moveset. Also, where the fuck did that bottle come from? And why is Baba using Minami's QTE? What? What? That... What? Huh? So, as you probably know, this guy sucks some extreme megadong, and I don't think you need me to say it. I do, unfortunately, have to give him some credit for being Akiyama's only boss that you can do wall sticks on. I actually think that this is a pretty good attempt, though. It shows Akiyama's potential for cool stuff if 4 out of 5 of his bosses weren't Kanai. I think I also did turn off the boss health mod for this, though it only gives him 1 extra bar anyway, so I'm not too concerned, but it does mean that this attempt is rather short. This attempt isn't nearly as clean as the original one, because Ogita is actually far worse when it comes to the Fighter's Dream mod. He's one of the few bosses in this game to have the Komaki cat-like reflexes ability, which is basically just like a tech roll. It really didn't come into play in vanilla, but it basically means that you can't juggle him without him just randomly teching out of it. I tried to rectify this by doing some wall bounding stuff, but it just doesn't work out. This attempt is overall pretty awful, but I made sure to pick some fitting music for it. I hope you have fun listening to it. Oh, and by the way, this is the Black Suit Akiyama mod by Kainism. I tried looking for something a little more unique, but Nexus mods didn't have the best offering, so this is what we're gonna go with. And yeah, there we go. There's the command grab reversal that I was talking about earlier, which comes in clutch in this. Did you know that this version is the only version of Kanai that will not turn around in his first phase? It's a damn shame because it makes him a lot more fun to fight. I don't really use it much in this unmodded version, but I do in the modded version. I also did this attempt immediately after my unmodded Ogita attempt, so I did not have the boss health mod on, but I do in the modded version. Now that means that this attempt is very swift, because after the first QTE, I hit like 1 mini combo and 2 counters, and he is just dead.
This is great.
That intro is such a lie. Akiyama runs circles around this man. I find it crazy how they actually tried to make Kanai seem like this super intimidating threat for all of 2 seconds when he tanks an Akiyama kick to the head before he immediately just becomes a little bitch for the rest of the game. Fighter's Dream gives Akiyama a parry, which is the only reason that juggling Kanai is at all possible. Not that I need it right now, though, as Kanai's just letting me completely fuck him up before he goes to do the QTE. But I should probably address the elephant in the room that is the first-person heat actions, which you've probably seen, and which you're about to see when I use my climax heat action here in just a minute. They're from Fighter's Dream, and it is random whether or not a heat action will be normal or first person. I have no idea if it's intentional or a bug. I just don't know why they're there at all. They're pretty neat, but I would prefer if they weren't there. A lot of the animation done for the heat actions doesn't translate well into a fixed first-person camera, and the sometimes extreme camera movement can be a bit of an eyesore. It's a cool idea, but it just looks like a shitty VR tech demo.
This is me first time. Think you can steal them, then you're running out. Your single worst mistake. Cut your rear end off and mount it over top me by your cheeks. Try to steal it if you're able. Get this out of your restaurant table. Me a pleasure. Breed out. Just wait till you see what they're made of. I'm even more than the two of them.
I am so glad that this fight doesn't use extermination. I've already had to hear it like 10 times. Now, I touched on it earlier, but it really sucks how Akiyama is just completely robbed of good bosses in this game. Kanai is okay, but he cannot carry the roster on his own, especially with Final Kanai being kinda shit. Kanai 2 isn't all that great either, though. It still requires a lot of enemy hurting that isn't very fun. Now, for this fight, I'm gonna let a climax heat action rip there in the beginning so I can clear out some of the goons who will be one-shots due to the fear state. I think that's one of the best features in Yakuza 5, and it should have been in future games. Climax heat isn't a thing after 5, but maybe they could have done something with extreme heat, where, you know, you use an extreme heat action, and then maybe some of the goons get scared and they're one-shots. That would have been really nice. After I pick off the goons, it's gonna be exactly like Kanai 1 again, where I'm only able to hit him a few times, because Yakuza 5, before I have to run away, rinse and repeat until the next wave of goons comes out. So this wave of enemies is actually really misleading because you only have to take out a couple of them before you're sent into the QTE that ends the fight. And you don't even have to beat Kanai. Like, he still has about 3/4 of a health bar left until he just goes into the QTE right now, and he just gets completely laid out. So this is another copyrighted song, so I do have to talk continuously, but unlike the Kugihara fights, this is an actual attempt with strategy and not me stun-locking a boss for 2 minutes straight, so there is actual stuff to talk about. The beginning here is going to be very similar to the vanilla version, take a shot every time I say that. I'm going to use some heat actions to get rid of the goons as quickly as possible before focusing on Kanai himself. Fighter's Dream luckily gives me an extra group heat action to work with whenever an enemy is standing up like that. When you just saw there, you just go ahead and let it rip and it gets rid of 3 of them. Now, after I take care of all of these goons, which is going to be in just a second, Kanai is going to be a bit of a bitch. But yeah, they're going to be done with this heat action right here, which is copied from Judgment, I believe. I don't remember if it's Judgment or Lost Judgment that has that heat action, but it's a Yagami heat action. Oh, and apparently there's one guy left. But yeah, anyways, Kanai is going to be a little bitch. Now, there are no walls in this arena for me to parry him into to start a juggle. So, I just have to make do with hitting his back and doing heat actions and shit. But that's not going to work out very well because, reminder, this is Yakuza 5. So, I'm gonna try and do the heat action for hitting him with your final finisher, but he's just gonna completely block every attempt of it. And even if I'm perfectly behind him, it still doesn't work because, once again, this is Yakuza 5. Now, one thing that seems to be changed about Kanai from Vanilla is his block reversal. He seems to do it way less, because in Vanilla, he'll throw it out as soon as you hit his block like twice, and it's really fucking annoying. And you will see he actually does hit me with it in just a second, but luckily it does not do damage, and it's immediately going to put him into that mid-fight sequence where he summons more goons, which is in a second. And I'm really glad he does it too, because he pulls that shit out frame 1. But you're going to see me here just completely struggle to hit Kanai with anything substantial. Like, even, like, this mod gives Akiyama a special attack after a parry, which you saw me do once there, I believe. And, it's supposed to stun the enemy, but it straight up just didn't. And I don't know why. I was hoping that it would work so I could maybe, for some reason, have the stun allow me to do the heat action, but it just doesn't. But yeah, so this is gonna be the same way as the vanilla version, where I just had to get rid of a couple of these guys, and then there's gonna be a QTE that just completely gets rid of Kanai. So, right there, I'm going to hit that heat action, and then I think that the ending QTE is copied from the... what's those guys' names? It's Yuta and Tagashira, I think his name is. Yeah, it's that fight from Yakuza 6. There's just these 2 random dudes, and then you just kill Kanai. And for some reason, this is Akiyama's last fight until the finale, where he just fights Kanai twice. So it is now time for the one, the only, Shinada. Now, Shinada isn't the most fun character to play as casually, but now that I've learned some of his more advanced tech, I kinda get it. I kinda get the hype. Shinada's the only character to have wall sticks baked into his moveset in the form of a heat action, and he's the only character who can consistently set up both front and back wall sticks. Yes, there are differences, and yes, they matter. It doesn't really come into play in this fight versus Ono, but it will later. Now, this Ono fight isn't very special anyway, so we'll have more specialized commentary later. So likewise, I also had a lot of fun with the modded version of Shinada. It gives him a lot of cool bonuses like a 5-hit rush combo, tons of new heat actions, an actual parry, and it even removes the ability for bosses to throw you out of your tackle. They can still escape it, but they can't damage you in the process, which is really nice, because it seems like RNG whether or not you just die for trying to use your tackle. Now, I don't make great use of it in this fight, but as I get to the later ones, I start to use the new stuff to great effect. And this attempt at Ono is going to be kind of sloppy, because I don't think that I was planning to use my climax heat that early. I kind of just blew my load a little early, you know, as you do. It happens to the best of us. But I promise you, it will get better as we get to these later fights. So as you probably know, most of Shinada's bosses are just regular dudes because he himself is just a regular dude. And that also goes for Sakai here, who's kind of just a guy that shows up and you fight him. This isn't a very special no damage at all like Ono, but it does have the first instance of what I think is a new tech for Shinada that I found. So basically, if an enemy is in a front-facing wall stick, you can wedge yourself behind them, do a tackle onto their back, and then reset the wall stick. I have never seen this done before, so I will be taking credit for it, and you're going to be seeing it here in just a little bit after I do this Hell's Floor heat action that was copied from Yakuza 3. Like, this is what I mean. I'm gonna do the wall stick heat action on him, and then he's going to be like floating off the wall like that, so I'm gonna be able to tackle him from behind, push him onto that wall, and then stick him. And then I'm going to end the fight by doing a heat action. Or my climax heat action, I should say. So I think I might have gotten a bit carried away with the joke music in this one. There's a lot of it, but I also just consider Yakuza 5 a very unserious game to no damage, so there's a reason for it. Once we get to the bosses in the finale chapters, there will be more serious music choices, but for now, this is Badly Baked Apple, an AI cover of the YouTuber DougDoug poorly singing Bad Apple. This is still a very whatever no damage though, so I don't have anything else to say about it. So on the topic of music, what the fuck is this song, bro? This is the long battle theme, and it sounds like some shit I'd be frolicking in a field to, not beating the shit out of someone. Manabe here can be kind of a bitch, because for some reason, this fat chef guy that has Komaki cat-like reflexes, and it's only really when he goes into heat mode though, and it's more so an issue in the modded version, as it only really affects back-facing wall sticks in the vanilla version, which I don't really do here, because, I mean, he's just gonna fall out of them, so I just get some front sticks instead. But still, it's more so an issue in the modded version, and not really here. Now, I am going to commit a mortal sin in this fight, though. I accidentally reuse a heat action. And not only that, but it's gonna be the heat action for when an enemy is standing up, which, I mean, like I said in the Sakai fight, is copied from Hell's Floor in Yakuza 3, which has a stupidly long animation. This is the first time I'm going to use it. It's one thing when it's got QTEs and stuff and you can choose other options, but having it as just a normal heat action kind of sucks. Especially when it's easy to accidentally use when you want to use the wall stick heat action, which is why I accidentally used it again. So this is the only time I rush for real by Sweaty Sounds, and you can probably surmise what it's a mashup of pretty quickly. Now I've had the boss health mod off for most of Shinada's bosses, but for almost all of them for the rest of this video, I will have it on. It's during this fight that I really get a feel for how Shinada works in Fighter's Dream. This beginning segment is a little sloppy because I'm trying to get Manabe set up properly onto the wall, but once that happens, I really get it going. Yeah, for some reason they decided to give Shinada the cool-ass Gaiden wall heat action. But speaking of cool heat actions, after I do this wall stick here, check this one out. So yeah, here in just a second, Manabe is going to go into his heat mode, and one thing about Yakuza 5 is that bosses are vulnerable during their heat mode animations, but they do get super armor, and this super armor lasts far longer than the actual animation does. So, like you can see here, I can actually exploit this by sticking Manabe to the wall after grabbing him out of the animation, and I can kind of just pummel him while he's T-posing. And you probably saw there that this mod actually replaces the Hell's Floor animation, which is really nice because it's now really just quick and snappy, and it doesn't take 5 fucking years. The ending part of this no damage is pretty bad, though. Like, I kind of just flub everything. And to celebrate its shittiness, I also refused to loop the song, and I left a note for the no commentary viewers, which will show up during the QTE, I believe, and I just left it in this version. Yes, I do get paid to do this.
力で止めるしかないってことか。死ぬと分かっている場所に行かせるわけにはいかない。極道としてもお前の友人としても。
俺がそんなにやわな男かどうか確かめてみるんだな。
覚悟はいいな、達夫。
ああ。
Here we go, now shit's getting hype. Now, I do have the boss health mod on for this, but I will also be using the payback ring just to make things go a little bit faster. Now, Daigo is a really cool boss, but the one thing about him is that sometimes he just gets random super armor, which makes him ignore wall sticks. In his heat phase, he has armor all the time, which is a little bit better because at least at that point it's consistent, but it's still kind of weird. However, I'd still say that this is a really cool boss, even though Yakuza 5 is a little weird when it comes to combat. Now, like you see there, he just didn't care that I kicked him up. He just was like, nah, I'm gonna stay on the ground. Now, once he goes into heat mode like this, I'm gonna start trying to grab him from behind. Well, right here, I'm gonna do heat action, and then I'm gonna start trying to grab him from behind. But he just isn't gonna let me. In hindsight, I don't really know why I did that, because he would be immune to back wall sticks anyway. Like right here, I'm gonna try and throw him, but it just doesn't work. And I'm gonna try again, and it just doesn't work. And I'm gonna try again. Well, that time I grabbed him from the front. And I almost got hit there. Here he's gonna do his like parry stance, which I'm just gonna counter with a heat action. But yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to grab him from behind, because he's just gonna ignore wall sticks due to super armor. But eventually I do end up just doing that bounding throw right there, which lets me set him up into a wall stick. And then that should be the end of the fight now, here in just a minute. So this is going to use You Say Run from My Hero Academia, which is a copyrighted song. And you might be able to see once it pans to Shinada's back, but I will be using the Shinada Baseball Tattoo mod by Mercus Burkus, which is really awesome. That's why you haven't seen me use a Shinada cosmetic mod yet, because this is the one that I chose. So, hope you enjoy that. So in the beginning here, I'm going to hit Daigo with one, big, long combo, which takes out almost 2 health bars. I don't think that I'm using the payback ring for this one. Yeah, I'm not. But it's just because Fighter's Dream lets you do so much more that it just lets you rack on the damage. Which is, a big reason why I wanted to boost the boss health in this no damage. Because especially in the modded version, you're just going to eat a crap ton of it in one big combo, as long as you know what you're doing, because the juggling in this game, like I said, can be pretty finicky. But at least in this first phase, Daigo he just has normal knockdown properties, so you can actually use finishers and shit with him. Now I wanted to try and use the knife eat action there, but it missed, so I just had to do the grounded eat action. And here I'm gonna bounding throw him to the ground, pick him back up, do the cool ass guiding heat action, which once again, I don't know why Shinada has that, but he does, and sure, it's cool, so I'm gonna use it. Now the rest of this fight is going to basically just be a rinse and repeat of parrying him into a wall and going for either a juggle or a wall stick. He randomly decides to fall out of this first one though, which sucks, but it feels pretty random whether or not Daigo's gonna keep or lose his super armor after a wall stick. Which, like I was talking about in the fight versus Manabe, where if he goes into heat mode and he gains his super armor for a bit, you can just stick him to the wall and then you can just hit him while he's T-posing for whatever reason. Yeah, Daigo, sometimes he does that, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes it'll go away and I can start a juggle, and sometimes Thog just don't care and he just gets the crucifixion armor or whatever. Now towards the end here, he's gonna throw up his parry stance a lot, and there's a pretty easy tell for when he's vulnerable after, where he just does a little jitter, which you're gonna see in just a second. He's still in it. Yeah, he just jittered like that, so he's good now, and I can just grab him and do whatever the hell I want. I could have bounding throwed him if I wanted to, but so here I'm going to splat him back onto the wall, and this time he's going to have his super armor, and I'm going to do that bounding throw, which will let me stomp him. I think I was trying to go for another wall stick there, but oh well. I'm actually going to set it up again now after he finishes doing his parry stance. Okay, he's out, and then he's going to do that, which is really easy to parry. Stick him to the wall, and then just going to hit the climax heat action, and this one is copied from Kiwami. This is the Brawler Kiwami finisher. But you'll also see that Fighter's Dream changes the ending QTE of this fight to be the ending QTE of the final boss of the Kaito Files, which is pretty long, so I don't exactly know how to keep the commentary going other than by saying that the Kaito Files is goated, and I'm pretty excited to no damage it. I would like to do that one, which is, as I said earlier, that's second up now after Judgment, which, Judgment's going to be an interesting no damage to do. I'll give more thoughts on it when I do it and I upload on it, but right now, still got another 2 hours-ish of Yakuza 5, so that's what I'm dealing with. So, this is the fight that Shinada's tackle was designed for. Shinada overall has pretty bad crowd control, but his tackle is the one thing that makes it manageable. So here I'm going to go into the menu and lower my health, because this fight has a unique property where once you get to low health, a QTE activates, which immediately kills the mini-boss, which is really great to have in a fight like this. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take advantage of the fear state that this puts enemies in, but it's okay, because I have a plan. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull out the pole. Or, well, I'm going to build up heat, and then I'm going to do the pull-out heat action with the pole so I can take it out safely without getting hit. And then I'm going to use this charging pole attack to, you know, just get some more heat, put some damage on all the goons, and then I'm going to clear out that area so that I can safely land the climax heat action, which is going to take out a couple of them. And this is also going to put a lot of enemies in a fear state again, and I can more easily exploit that with the pole charge attack, because that hits them even when they're on the ground. So after that cool little QTE sequence, you're gonna see that there's only a couple of enemies left, and that'll really just be it for this fight. I mean, not quite as bad as I was expecting for a big-ass group fight with Shinada. So this attempt is going to start out basically the same as the vanilla version, where I do the tackle for crowd control, and then I'm going to lower my health in order to do that QTE that gets rid of the mini-boss. Pretty simple. And the rest of this fight is going to hinge on a new move added in by Fighter's Dream. Now, if you run and press circle, Shinada does this flying tackle thing that is really good for crowd control because it has a huge hitbox, and it's pretty safe. I have no idea where the animation is from, though. Now, I don't really have much else to say on this fight, but I'm glad I finally found a good place to use Love Deterrence from Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I love that song. But I do want to take a second to talk about copyright. I'm sure that you're absolutely sick of me talking about it, but I don't know what else to say about this fight, and I hate copyright laws. I, of course, had my grievances with Zombie on Your Lawn earlier, well, Zombies on Your Lawn, I don't know why I said Zombie on Your Lawn, but there's a lot more to it. Now, Love Deterrence is another copyrighted song that I have to talk over, but it has a weird property where YouTube has not flagged the instrumental version in a previous video, but the moment the lyrical version shows up, it goes apeshit. This doesn't work for everything, because I have another instrumental version of a video game song with lyrics later in the video, and that still got flagged for copyright. Even later than that, I have a completely remade version of a song that sounds completely different from the original, but it still got flagged because not only do song copyrights exist, but so do melody copyrights. If I accidentally record myself having the shits and it sounds a little too much like a Billie Eilish song, legally I can have all my money stolen from me. I think that we should overthrow the government. That's a joke. I don't think we should actually do that. In case any federal entity is watching this video and would like to prosecute me, that is a joke. That is not serious. This is parody or whatever needs to be said to prove that I am not being serious, and I do not think that we should overthrow the government. I think that we should do things legally. Yeah, that's what they want me to say, right? I think so. So for the rest of this fight, I mean, you know, now we're in that cool QTE segment, and just like in the vanilla version, after this is over, there's just going to be like a couple enemies left, and it's not going to be too hard. I mean, it's basically just going to be like a normal tiny group fight. Yeah, that's like 5 people left, and like I said, it's just going to be me spamming that running attack thing because it's really safe and easy. And, okay, I'm going to heat action that guy, and there's just going to be a couple guys left. But look at this cool finisher that I'm about to do in just a second. Oh, I think I got to take this guy out first. That bounding throw, yep. Okay, and there's just 2, 3 guys left. I can't count. Yeah, this guy's gonna die. Just poke him in the eyes, kick him in the nuts, as you do. Okay, here, now look at this cool finisher. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so this is day 2 of recording for this. I may have gamed a little bit too much, a little bit too hard last night. Last night was Thanksgiving. At the after party, I was gaming. I'm thankful for all of my viewers who give me the time of day. That's what I'm thankful for. I'm not really thankful for this this attempt though. It's bad. Plus, Baba is just straight up ignored by the boss health mod, so he's just stuck at 2 health bars. So I don't know. Like, I tried, but this attempt just ended up very sloppy. And plus, you have to fight him as Kiryu, so this is just a complete joke of a fight. It's like, it's Baba. It's Baba. What do you think he's gonna do? So this attempt is a little bit better, but it's still not that great. It is the only time in this video that I will use the funny Yakuza 5 bike heat action though, but otherwise I really don't have anything to say about this one. Okay, so this fight is admittedly a lot longer than it needed to be. Aizawa's just got so much health like he does in his last fight. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the same amount. Yeah, I don't know. This whole fight is just me routing to get as many heat actions as possible so I can finish off with the climax heat. Now, this fight is going to start out pretty quickly, but by the time he gets to like 5 health bars left, it just starts to slow down a whole lot. I still think that the increase is necessary though, just because Saejima's damage is so high and Aizawa gets like 3 health bars, I think, in this fight. But especially like in this fight, he's still relying on his counters due to Aizawa having knockdown immunity. But I still think that the increase given by the mod is a bit too much. It's actually a lot too much. A lot of wall stick stuff is also off the table since he has knockdown immunity, though I do some wall stick stuff in this fight. That's mostly in the beginning. And this is really where I start to use my charge attack to set up on the wall, because that seems to be like the most consistent way I can do it with him. So, at the end here, I'm gonna try and set Aizawa up onto the wall for the climax heat, but it doesn't really work, so I just stun him and just let it rip. Alright, so here in the beginning, I'm going to start out with a big, long juggle combo, which is actually going to let me transition into a short back combo, which lets me do the heat action at the end of it, which you will see in just a moment. Yeah, like I said earlier, can't do too much with the knockdown immunity bosses when it comes to juggles, because they just don't care, but I am somehow able to land this back combo into the finisher heat action. So after this, I'm going to get Aizawa up into heat action on the wall, which I believe this is copied from Saito in Yakuza 4. Yeah, and during the prison escape. Yeah. And then I'm going to switch to Brawler for the next portion of this fight. Now, I am using a Grizzly Gold Fist, which I believe is the name of it. It's a Kakizaku's theme from Kiryu 2, and it's one of my favorite songs from that game, actually. I really like this. I do really like it, so I don't know how I haven't used it yet, but I feel like this is a good fight to use it on, because, you know, in the Kiryu games, you're fighting all the bosses like in the ring, and you're in the Coliseum for this, so I think it makes perfect sense. So what I'm trying to do here in Brawler is set up a wall stick to go for a very specific heat action. Now, it is technically possible to do with some finishers, but the addition of juggling makes it incredibly inconsistent, like whether or not you're going to get a wall stick. It ends up not working in the end, unfortunately. Now, one thing I don't like about this version of Brawler, or I keep saying Brawler, it's technically Bruiser, like I said earlier, but they replaced the Tiger Dragon Drop animation with the counter hook animation, or if this is a Bruiser, technically it's a Bomb Punch, but sometimes it just completely whiffs because the hitbox is a lot worse. Standard light attacks also don't stun the enemy, like the standard light attacks in Brawler, when like the enemy is just standing up. It doesn't like cause them to move at all, which is sort of good because it means that they don't turn, like you see there, they kind of just stand there. But it also means that the stun frames are a bit short. Yeah, for some reason they gave Saejima Shinada's tackle, and that's how I'm going to set up a tiny little combo, which isn't quite gonna kill, but then I'm just gonna tackle him again to do the tackle heat action. Also, the way you do tackle in this mod is a little different. You don't do the, you don't just like double tap triangle, you have to tap triangle and then circle. Yeah, I don't know why they changed that. Or maybe for like double finishers and whatnot, but I don't know. So Watanase was definitely one of the most fun bosses to no damage. This elevator thing right here is the only place you can do wall sticks, but it gets the job done. He does get a ginormous boost in health though, so this fight is fairly long. Now, I haven't really gone into story details in this video, mostly because it's been a while since I've actually sat down and played Yakuza 5 normally, but everyone knows this fight is dumb. It's really dumb. But I feel like the games, especially like, you know, games like Yakuza, can get away with dumb if it's cool enough or fun enough, and I think that they did a good job here. Now, Watanase is actually fairly easy. A lot of his moves have like long wind-up animations, which makes them easy to counter. The only hard part, like I said, is just the amount of health that he has, which makes the fight really long. Like, look at that. I was just very easily able to dodge. And yes, unfortunately, I do reuse that heat action, but you gotta forgive me. Now, like you just saw there, one thing that Yakuza 5 does that I really like is the ability for your back quickstep attack to stun bosses. And yeah, you've seen me do it quite a few times already, like especially for Kanai, because he sucks and it's like the only way to stun him. That it's really useful for him since Akiyama doesn't have Kamaki parry, so that's, like I said, the only way to stun him. It's also useful for Watanase because of his running attack. He loves to spam it. It's that little knee attack, so you can't parry it, but you can quick step through it and hit a quick step attack to stun him. Now, technically, you could do that in 3 and 4, but it only worked on basic enemies and not bosses, unfortunately. It took until 5 for it to work on bosses. But for some reason, they decided to not bring that over into, like, future games. Like, Yakuza 0 doesn't have quick-step attacks in Dragon Style at all, I'm pretty sure. Kiwami does, and the back quick-step does stun, but I've never seen it used that much in Kiwami. And then, I mean, once they switched to the Dragon Engine, they just stopped altogether. I mean, granted, it would be a lot more broken if that animation, which actually goes like forward, it's like the Superman punch stunned, but oh well. Now, I don't know why, but I used to really hate Collision of Our Souls. I'm still not like a huge fan of it, but I used to think it was awful. But I would rather have this than Extermination for the 80th time. Alright, so this man is not going to get a chance to breathe. I'm going to have Watanase stun-locked for the vast majority of this fight, up until he gets to about 2 health bars, and keep in mind he has 8, so... I finally decided that this would be a good fight to use Muppet from Kiryu on. This is the song I was talking about earlier when I said that the instrumentals still claimed the video. I'm complaining a lot about the music, but to be fair, it is partially my fault. Yakuza 5 is the last game to have the problem of muting voices in the intros whenever you mute the music, and the only way to circumvent that is by going into the files and replacing the music with a silent.adx file. Now, I was lazy, so I ended up recording all the fights with no voices, and I plan to record the music intros later and just slap them on, but I only did that after I exported the first draft of the no commentary version with the copyrighted music in it. So, at that point, there was no way for me to change it. And it also means I wasn't able to upload the actual no commentary version until after I added the intros back in. So there were some surprise copyrighted tracks that I had to go back and write more notes on, like this one. Now, you'll see in just a second, I actually am able to land a wall stick right here with my 4 square triangle. Yep. Like I said, it is technically possible, but it has to be lined up perfectly. And I just so happened to get really lucky there, and he was lined up. It's gonna let me do the Vine Boom heat action, which eventually leads to him getting out of the stun lock at about like 3 health bars, I'm pretty sure. But that will force him to do his heat mode animation, which is going to just let me hit another heat action. And yeah, he's about to get up and do it right now. And I'm pulling out the Skyrocket, and for some reason, a Fighter's Dream just gets rid of the funny firework heat action, and that means that this mod sucks and you should never play it. That's the only reason you would ever play Yakuza 5 is for the firework heat action. Now, the rest of this fight is going to be a little sloppy. I tried to hit some Dragon Spirit stuff in a juggle in just a minute, because I'm going to have him stuck to the wall, and then I'm going to try and hit it here, but activating Dragon Spirit just sends him out of the juggle like that. And I struggle to actually hit something because enemies just go Blockaza mode for some reason when you try to hit them in Dragon Spirit. Now, eventually I will get him with that throw, which gets up to his last health bar, so I can parry him in just a second. Not like that. That's the leg parry that they gave to this game. Okay, parry that, and I'm going to do my climax heat action, the ultimate slap. But this is unfortunately not going to kill, so I have to just hit him with a dropkick. Not that one. And not that one. That was not a dropkick. Right there, that's the dropkick. There we go. So this is probably Saejima's best boss. Too bad he's just an incredibly forgettable character. Is what I would say if that one cutscene didn't exist. Do you think that RGG had like a board meeting where they were like, hey, this character doesn't do anything memorable, we should show the audience his ass, they'll never forget that? Now, I hate to say it, but they were right. I never forgot that ass. Now this fight is going to have the best wall combos with Saejima that I'm able to do out of any of these fights. And you're definitely going to be able to see a lot of them because the health boost mod gives Katsuya 10 health bars. I don't know why he has so much more than Watanase, but he has 10. So now that Katsuya's in heat mode, things get a little tricky. Now, him and Watanase both have some weird super armor shit going on. It wasn't that bad with Watanase because you could just parry him and it wouldn't matter. But Katsuya's super armor is very inconsistent to deal with. Now, there are multiple times where he just doesn't care when I counter him, and he doesn't get stunned, but it wasn't too bad in this attempt. Now, in the latter half of this fight, my strategy is just going to be to dodge around him so my back is facing the wall like that, counter that dropkick right there, and then use my running attack to bound him off the wall and set up a wall stick. And I'm also going to be incorporating some weapons here for some variety. You'll see me kind of fail the first nunchuck use there, but I will use them again now. Now, I am accidentally going to use this heat action twice, and I kind of mess up the finisher. Though I do blame Katsuya for not getting stunned when I need him to be when I try to finish him off at the end of the fight. So this was another one of my favorite no damages that I had to do for this game, but I did have to do it twice unfortunately, since the first time had a recording error where the frame rate was super low. That I didn't mind having to do this one again though. But there was one big problem I had to deal with. The wonky super armor is way worse in this modded attempt compared to vanilla. Now, of course, Katsuya's not in heat mode right now, so that's not really an issue. But once he does go into heat mode, it is very difficult to get consistent combos on him. But I did find one way to make it work after quite some time doing attempts. Alright, so now that Katsuya is in heat mode, you're gonna see the problem is, yeah, I can't really set him up onto the wall apart from that heat action, which Saejima has for some reason, but he can only do it when the enemy's on the ground. And I will do this Daigo strat a couple times, where he's just gonna have the fucking crucifixion armor, and I'm just gonna use that to attack him normally. But after, like I said, quite some time, I found that this armor can just be bypassed by doing that Yakuza 5 specific attack where you just throw the enemy right into the wall. Now that normally isn't very useful in vanilla, because it just causes bosses to bounce off. But in Fighter's Dream, it cuts the in lag of that down enough for it to be actually good, because you can actually convert off of it. Now, other than that, this fight was really just a series of reaction checks, where I counter Katsuya's dropkick with the Yakuza 6 grab animation, which is like a parry for Saejima. And that's going to bound him off of the wall, but most of the time it's not going to do anything. Oh yeah, and this is my first time using one of the Sonic Frontiers boss themes. I'm saying, I don't know how it's taken me this long to do that. That game came out like a year ago. But I decided to use Break Through It All. I think Break Through It All is probably my least favorite. Not to say that it's bad, it's just I like the other ones more. But I felt like it worked on this fight, though. Alright, so yeah, to end off the fight, I'm just gonna stick him to the wall one last time and then let this climax heat action rip, and because I have like the payback ring on, it just kills him. That climax heat action is way too strong. Now, I'm gonna keep Saejima looped for quite a while in this fight, and he thankfully doesn't have nearly as much health as Watanase or Katsuya, so this fight isn't as long, but Saejima is still very dangerous. Now, fighting against playable characters in Yakuza games tends not to go very well. Player movesets are very much not meant to be used as boss movesets, as they tend to have very poor tails, and tiny punish windows. Now, this is more so an issue with Kiryu than Saejima, and he will be coming up after these fights with Saejima, but Saejima can still pull out some bullshit himself. Once again, I apologize for the lack of commentary in some of these fights. It's just, it's not always easy.
Kiryu! Koi!
No, I do know, or I do not know why all of the modded sounds from Fighter's Dream are all so low quality. I don't know if it's like a modding limitation or what. Now, what I do know is that this attempt is kind of all over the place, and my strategy for most of it is to block his light attacks and then do a backward quick step attack when he does his like charge finishers, and what I do from there varies. And I'm just now realizing that there's still an hour of video left, so I'm going to save my energy for the fights that are more interesting. Goodbye. Alright, so this Kiryu fight is going to be a speed run, because it is complete bullshit for no damage. Like, look, he just armored through my Tiger Dragon drop there. Like, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that! So yeah, the same like player moveset stuff applies here, but they also gave Kiryu Komaki Cat-like reflexes when he's in heat mode, so it's only possible to do wall sticks when he's not in heat mode. So it's either do as much as you can all at once, or don't do any. And I do get a decent wall combo here in the beginning, but yeah, I kind of just fail. But afterwards I'm just going to do the funny firework heat action on him, and it's going to melt his health because I'm using the payback ring. And I think this is pretty much the only time I used the funny firework heat action, so I hope you enjoyed it. So this fight is also going to be a speedrun, sort of. I would advise skipping this no damage, it is not worth your time. Because Kiryu gets Komaki Cat-like reflexes in heat mode, juggling him becomes impossible. Now what better way to fix this than by not letting him get into heat mode? Yeah, that's the entire no damage. So for the first, and I think the only time ever in these no damage videos, you're about to see the same boss fight 4 times in a row. You can do this fight with Akiyama and Kiryu, which means that technically they're 2 different fights, which means they each have a vanilla and a modded version, so yeah. Have fun seeing this 4 times. Now Akiyama is up first, and the first section of this fight is all about abusing his giant hitboxes. These goons all have really low health, so they're not any kind of threat. One thing you might notice is that the game can only spawn enemies if the camera is turned away. Sorry, drinking a Dr. Pepper might have to belch a little bit. Yeah, you might have to, like, spin it around, like, yeah, like that. And you can see on the mini-map just all of the dots spawning in. Now, Kanai, as usual, is going to be very easy, even though Akiyama's potential against him is a bit limited. Now, Kiryu does kind of get in the way, but he also does allow for some tag team stuff, which makes this a little different than the other Kanai fights, but not by much. I can't wait till the Akiyama Gaiden, which takes place in the Skibidi Toilet universe, where we have to fight Mecha Kanai more times than Kuze. Now, one cool thing that Fighter's Dream does, which you're going to see here in just a minute, is that it gives Akiyama a special gun moveset. Not that I'm going to use much of the actual moveset, but I will be shooting these guys because I didn't want to have to beat them up normally again. Although, it does seem like there are way fewer enemies in this one. That might just be placebo, but it definitely feels like there's less of them. That might just be because they all die so quickly, though. Like, yeah, they're not having a chance. Now, after all these guys are gone, I do have the health mod on, which will come into effect right now since Kanai is coming in. Because you can parry tonight, and that makes it a little better for no damage. But it still isn't really that notable of a no damage. It's still Kanai. I mean, what else can I say about him? Now, because I hate Kanai, I don't want to talk anymore. But this song is copyrighted, so I do have to have something going on. So I had the bright idea, how about you enjoy some classical music? So this fight took way longer to do with Akiyama than it did with Kiryu. Kiryu's bounding throws having iframes makes it a whole lot easier. Plus he has parry, so he can handle Kanai a little bit better, but that's about it for the fight, honestly. Sorry if I can't give great commentary on 4 different versions of the same fight versus Kanai of all people. I really promise that I will have better commentary during the final bosses, which are right after this attempt. Although I don't really have much of a choice for this version because, once again, this is a copyrighted song. For some reason, a song about Robin shaking his booty in his own movie is worth stealing my revenue over. You know, all 5 cents of it. Problem is, I don't know what I want to talk about for the next few minutes, so I will instead play my own original song, which can't be copyrighted, possibly. The worst thing ever created, which is exactly how I feel about Kanai.
Nasty Jr.
1, 2,
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs.
Hey, look at me, I'm British.
Wow, epic fail.
What the hell? Deep fried pizza. Oh my god. Kill yourself!
Fuck you, fucking dick! Always me saying.
I'm not an incel. My internet friends called me.
Hey, shit ass. Wanna see speed bridge?
Sexy math, lolly.
What the dog doing?
Oh, keep blowing up.
Hi, I'd like to place an order for delivery.
Patrick? Is that you?
Yeah, hey Mario. Let me get a large double olive,
Patrick, listen, it's me.
Curve Nasty Jr. You're working at Pizza Castle now?
What? No, listen. I'm
Sending nude photos to your kids.
I'll be naked in my bathroom, lying on the floor, covered in my own piss. Then my mom opened the door, said I had it with this shit. It's been 50 times or more. Spraying urine like a garden hose, that's what the toilet's for. I say, Mama, I'm so sorry. This is something you can't ignore. But with every bathroom visit, I get shaken to my core.
俺らの最後の喧嘩の花しっかり咲かせたるやないかい
So we are now in final boss territory. Unfortunately, it is gonna start out on a really shit note. Sorry. I tried, but Majima is a really terrible boss for no damage. I mean, this is a great boss in just like casually playing, but for no damage, this guy sucks. There are no walls to speak of, and even if there was, he has cat-like reflexes, which means no wall sticks at all. He also has very little health, but he has his Shadow Clone Jutsu phase, which drags out the fight and is itself really unfun to no damage. So this vanilla attempt here is gonna be a speed run. Now, let's just say that it's because I already used Receive and Slash You back in Kiwami 2. If I ever redo Kiwami 2, I'm going to switch it out. Now this fight really isn't going to take all that much longer because I'm just going to pull out the gun to take care of the clones, and then I'm going to use the Danger Don't Hit to decimate the rest of Majima's health bar. I really promise that the modded version is a lot better. Alright, keeping up with the trend of using D&B for Majima fights, this is Death of the Endless by Symphony, formerly known as Sewer Slut. One of my favorites by them, honestly, and I think it works, like, spectacularly on this fight. Now, this is copyrighted, but there is a lot more to discuss in this attempt than the vanilla one, and I just wanted to let that part play. Now, Majima does retain cat-like reflexes from the vanilla version, but I am able to find some clever workarounds with it. In the beginning here, I'm able to do a short little juggle combo on him that you'll see right here. And it's just gonna lead into like the finisher heat action, like boom, there we go, I'm gonna hit it. And I will have a payback ring on just to speed this up a little bit because Majima gets a crazy health boost. Now, it is also a bit RNG dependent whether or not that little juggle combo works, so I won't do it too much in this fight. But you will see I will use the tiger puppetry quite a bit, because that gets some decent damage off, especially with the payback ring. And it's really easy to set up where you can just do your 1 square 2 triangle on Majima to break his guard, and that's going to send him into a low bounce, which lets me do the tiger puppetry. And now Fighter's Dream changes this fight to have the Feel the Heat as the first QTE instead of the last, which you just saw there. There is actually an unused animation of Saejima throwing Majima's knife back at him at the end of the Feel the Heat, which is re-implemented into this fight, which lets it serve as a standard mid-fight QTE, which I think is actually really cool. I like that it is implemented into this fight in the modded version. Now that second QTE right there is copied over from Kyoya in the Kaito files, and afterwards Majima is going to throw out his shadow clones, which I'm going to deal with in the normal way this time. Now in the vanilla attempt I of course just pulled out a gun and shot them, but here I will do the no damage approved method of just waiting for an opening and then abusing throw iframes. Now, if you're lucky enough, you can actually get an extra clone or two with the collateral hitbox of that, and I think I did in that first one there, but I'm not able to for the rest of them. Now, that method is rather slow due to how dodgy the clones are and how hard it can be to actually get a good opening, but it's not as bad like the farther you go and the less clones you have. There's just one to deal with, it's not that hard. But when you have all of them, it can be really difficult, so I'm just going to take care of the last couple with like a running attack. But now that the clones are gone, there's going to be a lot of heat actions happening just because landing regular combos on Majima is so inconsistent. So I'm going to do one more tiger puppetry setup right there, get the get up heat action, and I'm going to counter him and do the back grab heat action. Like, yeah, that's the most consistent move to counter with Majima. And then do the back grab heat action. Awesome, that's going to like wipe out like half a health bar. I don't know why. I don't know why that heat action specifically is stupid strong. I'm pretty sure that was like a red heat action in Yakuza 3 for Kiryu, but I don't know. But yeah, that just wiped out like half a health bar. And at this point, the fight is so close to over, I'm just going to get that heat action and then do a couple more counters. And then that's going to let me do my climax heat action right there. Because, yeah, ignore the glitched text. I don't know why the mod does that. But also one thing the mod does is it maps Tiger Shockwave to your, like, taunt one, which is normally Essence of Blitzing. Now, since the original Feel the Heat was used earlier, it has been replaced with the QTE from the first Nishitani fight in Gaiden, which I think still works really well and is a very clever way to end the fight. Now, once again, I do have to keep talking for the rest of this because this is a copyrighted song, but I still wanted to use it because this is a really cool song and I think it works really well. I think I had a good idea using D&B on Majima since Yakuza 3, I believe. Yeah, because Yakuza 6 doesn't have a Majima fight and you play as Majima and Zero, and those were the ones I used after Kiwami 2. So, since Yakuza 3, good job, me. Now I am going to lower my health here at the beginning of this fight, but it's not because I will be using the payback ring. I will be using it for the passive heat gain that you get at low health, because my strat requires a lot of heat to work. Now, I'm first going to set Baba up on the wall here to do a tackle reset in order to get him into a backwards wall stick. And this is going to allow me to do the circle attack with the knife, which will cause him to immediately do his heat mode animation, which is going to let me do another heat action. Now, I think that pipe heat action is actually really cool, but I hate how little damage it does. It's just super weak. It does, like, the damage that a finisher does. And after this QTE, I'm going to have Baba set up into another wall stick, though I don't really know what I was trying to do with it. And I'm just going to, like, tackle him into the wall, as you're going to see in just a second. Now, I wish Baba had a little bit more health here. 3 bars is a bit too low. It's, I think, literally less than the Saejima fight had. I think Saejima's fight with him had 4, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. But having the health mod on just gives him way too much for vanilla Shinada to handle. But I will have the health mod on in the modded version. Now, because Baba is only on 1 more health bar, the only thing left for me to do is just stick him to the wall and use my climax heat action, and that's gonna end the fight. Now, I have no idea why, but this mod really plays up Shinada's acrobatics, especially in this fight. He's given a lot more finesse than he actually has. But, this fight is another victim of melody copyright. This is Numb by Linkin Park in the Mario 64 sound font, made by Morsua. Thankfully, it is the last copyrighted song in this video, because it would suck if I had to constantly talk during the 9-minute long final boss. But, I'm going to start out with a pretty insane combo here. That, 4S, or that 4 square, 1 triangle bounding throw is a good way to... is good, it bounds. I'm not intelligible right now. It bounds, but for whatever reason, if the enemy hits the wall, it, like, flung way off in the other direction, so the only way to convert off of it is with a standing kick. And then I'm going to do another bounding throw, which is going to line up for another bounding throw, which lets me pick him up, throw him into the wall, tackle him into the wall, and then do that heat action. Now this is going to lead right into a QTE to bring him to 4 health bars, or 4.5 health bars, I should say. That QTE is very funny because if you fail, you instantly die, like in Lost Judgment, because that's a Lost Judgment QTE, and it plays a funny sound effect. It plays the little slippery sound effect that you hear in the cartoons, like a something like that. Now, on to the next phase of this fight, I'm going to be bringing Baba back over to this wall, and I'm going to set up a bounding throw, like that, and then I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to stick him to the wall, so I can pull out the Kali sticks, and this is almost going to end this attempt, because it leaves Baba standing, and I'm just barely able to dodge that attack and use the heat action. Now, after this, I'm going to set up another bounding throw, as you do with Shinada, and I'm going to put him into a juggle, and it's not quite going to work, though. But, so, of course, I'm just going to stick him up on the wall again. Yeah, like, my kick just doesn't bounce him up, so I don't get a juggle, so he's going back onto the wall. And then I'm going to tackle him onto the wall, and what I'm trying to set up is the cool wall Gaiden heat action thing, which is going to send him into the next QTE. Like there, okay, I'm going to hit that bounding throw, grab him off the ground, do the cool Gaiden heat action, let's go. Unfortunately, it is the first-person version, I would rather it not be, but still the cool Gaiden heat action, it's cool. That's why I call it the cool Gaiden heat action. But this is going to send him into the next QTE. And luckily, Baba decided to cooperate there and not break out of my grab, so everything works out. And this QTE is ripped straight from Kuwana in Lost Judgment, and I don't know why this isn't the final QTE since it is the final one in that fight. But I guess that means that Shinada technically knows Tiger Drop, because that is in that QTE, and according to the QTE system in Lost Judgment, that final input is like a lock-on and triangle, and it's literally just the Tiger Drop animation. So yeah, Shinada knows Tiger Drop, he just chooses not to use it because he's that crazy. Now, that QTE is going to leave him with only 1 health bar, so of course, I'm just going to stick him to the wall one last time so I could do the pipe heat action, which is going to bring him into the final QTE, which is copied from Arai from Yakuza 4. It's the Akiyama one, and they do like the cool, the arm bar and like the flip in the air and all that. But yeah, I feel like this is a very great way to cap off Shinada. I mean, as you probably know, he unfortunately does not show up in any game past this. But, you know, he had a good run, and I really got it. I really got the hype doing no damages for this. I understand why people like playing as Shinada now. I get it. But yeah, this is a very fun way to finish it off, and this QT is about to end. And goddamn, we still have 28 minutes left of video left. Don't ask me how 2 bosses takes up 28 minutes. Alright, so we gotta face off against this fucker one last time in a fight that's like 2 spots up from Munakata. Now, this fight requires a lot of hurting like the second Kanai fight, except it is far worse this time. My strat in the beginning here is just to clear out some of the goons with heat actions, and then I have to hit Kanai with that triangle jump heat action, which I will be in just a second. Now, the reason that I need to hit him with it is, okay, right there, because that's going to charge my climax heat gauge, and I'm going to use the climax heat action on him, and those 2 heat actions combined are going to get him out of his knife phase. And you may or may not know, but Knife Kanai is an absolute atrocity of a boss fight. That he's just not fun to deal with at all. He's stupid aggressive, his hitboxes are ginormous, and it's just, that compounded with the giant group, it's just not fun to deal with. And now, yeah, hitting him with the climax heat action is going to let me kill some of the goons who are in fear. And since there aren't that many left, I'm just going to take the opportunity to get rid of them before going into the next phase. Because, well, I mean, I guess the climax heat action doesn't directly get rid of Kanai's knife, but now he's literally just 1 hit away from the QTE that gets rid of it. So I'm just going to try and take care of these guys, okay? That's going to be like the double heat action. Yep, that's going to take care of those last 2 goons, and now I just need to hit Kanai once, which is harder than it might seem, because it's Kanai, but yeah, okay. So yeah, now the fight's going to be a lot more manageable, but this is still base Kanai, so I can't do much in the way of combos, and it seems like in this fight specifically, he likes to turn around more than he does in his previous fights. But it doesn't matter all that much either way because I'm using the payback rings, so he dies in like 3 hits anyway. this is Looney Lunchly, a mashup of Silly Billy and Thick of It by Toy Freddy Gaming, and it is way better of a mashup than it has any right to be. Now, I've been trying to pick songs for Kanai that are really silly in nature, but are played completely straight. Hence the Ultimate Showdown and the PS5 song from earlier, and I think that this works well to cap off the Kanai fights. Yeah, and here we also have the triumphant return of Gun Akiyama. Who wins, Gun Akiyama or Gun Daigo? I'm mostly trying to just get rid of the goons, but Kanai is gonna catch a couple strays too. But it kind of works out though because it's gonna get rid of his knife, which is, even in the modded version, still not fun to handle. Don't ask me how Kanai just randomly procured a bat. He just does that. I mean, the Pseudo QTE is pretty cool, so I don't mind. But yeah, this is the modded version, so combos are actually possible, which is always nice. Although there's a vast amount of QTEs in this fight, which means that you can't do too many. They kind of get interrupted. Like right now we're going into this QT, which is like the second to last one in vanilla. And this is going to do a tad bit of damage. It just did done. Just did done? I can't fucking speak. Oh my god, I should quit YouTube. I can't do this anymore. Bye guys, this is my last video I'm ever making. I can't speak anymore. English is hard. Yeah, this song choice was actually a bit of a buzzer beater pick because I think it came out like a couple days before I was picking the music. Or it might have been the day of, and I listened to it and I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna work so well on Kanai, on like a final Kanai. And yeah, it does. I think this is a great spot to put it at, and it works wonderfully. But we are now in the final QTE. This is copied from Shioya from Judgment, but that's it. That's Kanai. Bye, fucker. Yes, the last 20 minutes of this video are just on Aizawa. Believe it or not, I do actually have the health mod on, though the increase isn't quite as extreme in this fight since he already has a crap ton of health. But one of the major problems in this fight is that there are just way too many QTEs. Like they're cool to look at, but they interrupt the flow of the fight constantly, so they can be a big pain to deal with. Yeah, in this first phase I'm going to do a lot of cool like wall stuff. I mean, this isn't gonna work anymore because Aizawa just popped his heat mode, so he's gonna have armor, so he's not gonna get kicked up at all. But we should be going into the first QTE soon, which is the one where they're just kind of like wrestling and It takes like fucking 15 seconds. Now I try to go for a wall combo with this here, but it doesn't quite work. But it's gonna send us into the QTE. And yeah, I don't like how much you have to mash for this one. It's kind of like the Daigo QTE from Yakuza 4, the one where it's like 8 bajillion different camera angles. I still think that's the funniest QTE this series has ever produced, but yeah, this one you gotta mash a little bit too much for my liking. But this is good, actually, because it actually sets him up right to be lined up for a bounding throw, which sets him up into a wall combo, which is gonna let me do the couch heat action. Now, I know that Aizawa is a very controversial final boss because of how much of an asshole he is. I don't think it's quite as bad as many people make him out to be, but he's still not, like, great. I think he ties into the theme of dreams pretty well. You know, with him wanting to beat Kiryu as a way for him to feel like he's earned all of the power that Kurosawa's giving him. I think that's a really cool concept, but having Aizawa be Kurosawa's son is still, you know, a giant ass pull that was not set up at all. I mean, these characters don't speak to each other ever. They're never seen with each other ever. Like, the most possible foreshadowing I could see of him being the final boss is, you know, the reveal of his tattoo being the koi during, like, the fight with the Saejima, because, you know, that's, like, really important, but that is just, like, a small detail, and it kind of requires you to know, like, the themes behind all the tattoos in the series. I generally think that the way tattoos are used in this series is very good, and I think, you know, Aizawa having the koi is great. I think it fits him very well, but it's just like it's a minute detail that doesn't have a lot of emphasis placed on it, so it still feels like him being the final boss is an afterthought. Now, I've done this Dragon Spirit heat action quite a few times in this video. It's pretty cool, and the only real consistent way to set it up on a boss like this is to hit it during a wall stick. Otherwise, you know, they just go Blockoza mode, like I said earlier, and they just don't care. Now, Aizawa didn't take me nearly as long to no damage as some of the other final bosses. I don't remember exactly how long my attempts were, but I know that, like, Shishido took me like 8 hours, and I didn't spend nearly as long on Aizawa. He's a fairly easy boss, all things considered. His attacks aren't fast at all, and he's really easy to exploit. Like, a lot of the time you'll see, like I did there, I'll just go for, like, the back quick step stun. Once he does his, like, double punch into that knee thing right there. That knee has a really bad hitbox, and it's a long animation, so it's really easy to just quick step through it and stun him. And plus, he just has a lot of slow fist attacks that you can parry really easily too. Yeah, for some reason here, he's just not gonna cooperate when it comes to me doing my wall sticks. And, like, there's not much time left for me to do... Like, he just doesn't stick there. Like, what the fuck? And But yeah, there's not much time left before he goes into phase 3 anyway. And you're about to get into that QTE. I don't remember exactly where the health bar threshold was, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between the third and the fourth one. Okay, and I am able to get one last stick here, but yeah, he just doesn't care that I grab him. I was gonna try and do like the back grab wall heat action, but he just doesn't like it. So this final phase here is gonna be like really sloppy. There are no walls in this area at all, which means that wall sticks are just completely off the table. I do try to do a short bounding throw loop by the lamp here, which is the only like corner that I can do it in. But Aizawa either doesn't let me grab his back, or he doesn't bounce up when I kick him, which he's supposed to, and he just doesn't. This leads to me accidentally using my climax heat action when I don't want to as well. So, yeah, this phase is really scuffed, sorry. I'm also just generally being really cautious in this phase, because while Aizawa's attacks aren't all that fast, his grab is, and remember, his grab does damage. So I can't afford to get, like, hit by it, because even if he hits it, like, I can't even, like, do a reversal heat action or anything. So I'm never really able to get anything going in this phase, but, I mean, a no damage is a no damage, and I think that the modded version is better anyway, so, yeah, I'll let the rest of this one play out, and I'll see you then. So I've had this song in mind for Aizawa for a very long time. I mean, that's generally how I am with final bosses. Most of the time I know what I want to use on them way in advance, but this has been a long time coming. And I am very happy with how well it worked out. Now, I was considering getting a second song on this fight because it's just that long. But I wasn't able to find a good one, so I just stuck with this one. Yeah, this is the Meaning of Truth, which is the F-Zero GX anime opening theme, and it's wonderful. It works perfectly. Now, you may not remember this because I said it like 3 hours ago, but Aizawa uses Shishido's moveset in this mod, and his dynamic intro was even replaced with the unused Shishido intro. Now, I'd say that this version was a bit easier overall because of how good juggling is, but Shishido's moveset in a vacuum is harder to deal with. Not that much harder, just because of how Yakuza 5 is. I think Shishido's moveset is a lot harder in, like an actual Dragon Engine game, but not that bad. But this modded version adds a lot of new QTEs though, so it's somehow even more obtrusive than the vanilla version. Now, I was able to strategically teleport the chair here so I could hit a heat action, and I'm, words are awesome. As you can see, the grabs in this one don't do damage. I think I mentioned that back in the Morinaga and Aizawa fight, way back when, but yeah, you don't take damage just from getting grabbed, which allows me to do some grab reversals, and including that grab reversal heat action. Which is real nice, adds a little bit of variety. But, I'm gonna bring Aizawa over to this wall, but I do need to be careful. You probably saw that, like, flying knee attack that he did, which is a real bitch to deal with. It's really fast and really hard to avoid. So you just kind of gotta preemptively expect it. Now, I was gonna attempt to go for a back wall stick there with that little 4 square 1 triangle, but like I said, it's very hard to line up, so it doesn't end up working. But somehow it just avoids his knockdown immunity, so I'm still able to continue the bound with that. Alright, here in just a second, I'm going to somehow get a really lucky wall stick, which I didn't really expect, so I don't really know what to do, so I kind of just panic and pull out the nunchucks, which he falls out of, but I'm still able to get the heat action off on him. And I am able to get a couple more lucky sticks after this point as well. And I'm going to try and grab him out of one of them, but he's just going to break out of it, which you'll see in just a second. Of course, we have a QTE first. Now, this fight copies, like, a lot of QTEs, if you didn't notice. There's, like, the Ishin ass slap one in the first phase there. This is a Kenmochi QTE from the Kaito files. There's a couple Ryuji QTEs. There's Iwami's QTE in phase 1. There's even a Mine QTE, too, which is going to show up in a minute. Yeah, Genadich really went out when he was modding this fight. Yeah, that's the flying knee I'm talking about. It's really hard to deal with. And that's another lucky stick that I'm able to get there. And like I said, he just breaks out of my grab. And the fucking flying knee again. Alright, and watch here. I'm actually able to get that heat action now. But unfortunately, it goes first person mode, which looks a little weird. But I'm actually going to get really lucky, and I get the opportunity to do a 4 square 1 triangle stick, which is going to let me do the Vine Boom heat action in order to close out this phase here in just a moment. Alright, there, he's perfectly lined up, and he sticks. I get lucky, get the stick and do the Vine Boom. Unfortunately, that heat action's a little weak, but it's funny, so I have to use it. And here we go with the Mine QTE, like I said. I think he even uses like the Mine particle effects from Yakuza 3, which is pretty interesting. Kiwami 3 win. So, like I mentioned, the wall stick tech was a fairly recent development, like in the months preceding this video. It was this year that it really became a prominent thing. But honestly, it's been right under our noses the whole time. Like, just look at this QTE here in a second. Like, once it's done with, like, the button mashing, Kiryu's gonna throw Aizo onto the door, and he's gonna do the wall stick T-pose. That's like symbolism or something. It's a sign! Now, Phase 3 is going to be a little different from the vanilla version. There's no walls, like I said, but there's also an extra mechanic in Fighter's Dream that hasn't been super important up until now. Now, bosses technically have mortal attacks, like in the Judgments and Gaiden, except these can be countered like normal moves because it's just how they're programmed. There's no support for it in, like, the old engine. Now, Aizawa does a mortal attack every single time he heals, and I'm going to use this to farm the different versions of Komaki Fist Reversal. Like, I was trying to do the front version, but it ends up doing, like, the side version. I think there's actually 2 different side ones, but I don't know which one that is. Alright, this time I'm going to do the front version, even though I was on the side of him, sure. Alright, and that one's just that one rush heat action from Yakuza 0. And then he heals 3 times, and the 3rd time is going to be in just a second. I'm going to get the backwards one, which is just copied from one of your extreme heat actions from Yakuza 6, which like never showed up ever again outside of Kiwami 2 for some reason. But I mean, this is honestly just about the end of the fight. All that's left to do is finish him off with the ultimate slap in just a second and go through the ending QTEs. So I guess it's time to do my outro. Thanks for watching. If you made it through all 3 hours of this, drop a comment doing crack in the McDonald's bathroom. That would be really great, and I need engagement, please. Alright, now he's just gonna get slapped, and we're gonna go into the ending QTEs. So thanks for watching. Have a good one. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I can't wait to see you all in 2015.